Looking at the League One table going into the final day of the season, it's clear to see where the drama is. I am filming this before the games take place on Tuesday, but looking at the bottom four, that looks pretty much set. And whilst Bolton and Peterborough still harbour aspirations of stopping Derby, I think they have to accept that the possibility of doing that is pretty remote. So that leaves us with the final two playoff spots, and of course I have a vested interest in who makes it. Barnsley and Lincoln are in pole position with Oxford and Blackpool on the outside looking in. But let's see if I can predict what's going to happen. You probably think that I have Oxford winning 10-0, but I can categorically deny that. But 9-0? Well, I'll never say never. I do put timestamps down below, so if you do just want to jump to the end to see how it all plays out, in my mind anyway, please feel free to do that. But I do advise you to stick with me and enjoy the ride, so you can see the detailed 2 to 3 minutes of analysis that I put into every prediction. Either way though, please hit the like button, because that does help me out quite a lot and helps me get these videos out to more people. Not that more people really need to see it. And of course, if you do like the content, consider subscribing. So remember, this is just for fun, but here we go. We're going to see who will still have dreams of promotion and who will be relishing a trip to Wrexham next season. I'm going to go game by game, and I'm starting with Barnsley. The Tykes are in 5th place going into the final round. They're a point above Lincoln and Oxford, and they're 2 points above Blackpool. But things are far from harmonious in the Barnsley house. Neil Collins has been fired with 1 game to go, which, from being outside of Barnsley and a non-Barnsley fan, that seems completely crazy. But they've not been in good form, and that is a bit of an understatement. They've only had 2 wins in their last 10 games, and they've only taken 8 points from a possible 30, so you can possibly see why. They also did just lose to Blackpool, and I thought defensively they were really poor in that game. The discontent is rife with the fans, so maybe this eases the pressure on the players a little bit, and it does kind of throw the form book out of the window. Oakwell will be full and bouncing at kickoff, I am sure, but if Barnsley do fall behind in that game, or if they do get wind of results not going their way, then it could turn quite an unpleasant place. But Barnsley fans should be encouraged by who they are playing, because in my opinion they have by far the easiest game of the 4 promotion chasers. And that is not throwing any shade at Northampton. John Brady has done a commendable job for the Cobblers, and they've comfortably stayed up in mid-table for pretty much the whole season in their return to League One. And while the term on the beach gets thrown around quite a lot at this time of the season, Northampton might not be fully on the beach, but I would say they're certainly on their way to the airport. Away from Sixfields as well, Northampton have been really struggling with only 1 draw and 2 goals in their last 5 away games. They usually are quite competitive though, and don't tend to take many hidings. The games are quite close, so don't expect this one to be a walk in the park for Barnsley, but I do expect Barnsley to get the job done. I'm going to go for a goal in each half, and I'm going to go that Barnsley win this game 2-0, and that means Barnsley is job done. So what that means then, it is 3 teams vying for 1 place, and let's move on to the second team I'm going to look at, and it's going to look at the team in 8th place. I'm going to look at Blackpool. Neil Critchley's Tangerines are a point behind Lincoln and Oxford, but they do have an inferior goal difference to both of those sides, so basically they need to win. But they do travel to Reading in good form with 4 wins on the spin, and I thought they were excellent last weekend in their 3-2 win over Barnsley. Unfortunately for Blackpool, they have been far worse when they've been on the road this season. Bloomfield Road has been a happy home ground, but not so much when they're on their travels. So no matter who they were going to play, it is not going to be easy. I did accuse Northampton of down in tools, but I don't think the same can be said for their opponents in Reading. It's been a season of adversity for the Royals, and they've been fighting it from minute 1. But Ruben Sellers has done an admirable job of fighting that adversity. They do find themselves in 17th 7th place, but also that is a bit of a false position because of the points deductions that they've had. And Reading's home form is pretty excellent. They rarely lose at the Majeski. I'm going to keep calling it that. I don't know the sponsor's name. So I like Majeski Stadium. I'm going to keep with that. They've only had 2 defeats in the last 12 home games. But Blackpool have been performing well in must-win games, and they've been playing pretty much must-win football for the last 3 or 4 weeks. And while they might not always be the most thrilling sides to watch, they do have a good defence, and they're generally a very hard side to break down. Apart from last weekend's game against Barnsley, Blackpool are quite a low-scoring side as well, and they've won 3 of the last 4 games by 1-0, which shows me also that they're a side that's not going to crack easily under pressure. And I think Blackpool are going to get an away win here. I think they're going to come back from Reading with a victory. I think this one is going to end 1-0 to Blackpool. Blackpool and Barnsley have done their job, so it's down to Oxford and Lincoln to see if they can do theirs. And because it's my channel and I want to talk about Oxford last, the next side we're going to talk about is Lincoln. Michael Skubala's Imps are in that all-important 6th spot. They have that place on goal difference over Oxford United. But they are also 1 point ahead of Blackpool and 1 point behind Barnsley. Look, before I go on, I encourage you all to give Michael Skubala a round of applause. I can't stand up and do it because it will mess up my setup here. But please, go on, give him a round of applause. It's okay, I will wait. 1 defeat in 18 games is quite simply championship winning form, and that is the form Lincoln have been in since Skubala has come in. Lincoln have gone from looking over their shoulders at the drop zone to being one of the toughest sides in League One and still in with a shot of promotion. But the biggest problem for the Imps is their opponents. They have to get the job done against the champions. It's Portsmouth who roll in to Sinsel Bank. They've been the best side and the most consistent side in League One. This game should be fascinating. Lincoln are so hard to beat, but they generally don't blow sides away, and the games are quite tight and quite low scoring. But the way they defend as a team is sensational, and if they do take the lead, they rarely throw it away. I saw this happen very recently against Oxford, and I must say I was very jealous of how well they defend as a team. But this again is Portsmouth they are playing, and having already won the league and seeing that they can no longer get to 100 points, there is an argument to be made that John Massinio's side have nothing left to play for. But, and I'm not basing this on Massinio's Oxford connection, Portsmouth have been the best team in League One. Massinio has set high standards all the way through, and I think it's unlikely that they'll want to end the season with 2 defeats. Portsmouth have been the masters at finding a way to win and avoiding defeats themselves this season. This will put Lincoln's resilience to the ultimate test, and I just have a feeling that Pompey are going to spoil Lincoln's party. I think this game is going to end with a 1-1 draw. And look, if I just take my Oxford hat off for a second, I really actually do hope Lincoln make the playoffs. The way they play, the way they have been playing, they deserve it in my opinion. And also, I really think they have a genuine chance of winning the playoffs if they do get in there. So Lincoln fans should take solace in the fact that my predictions are usually terrible, but it is my prediction and I do think this is going to be a 1-1 draw. So finally we come to the unquestionable, undoubted main event of this video, and that is Oxford United. Look, I know what you're thinking, you've watched my videos before and I always seem to end up with Oxford smelling of roses by the end of it. Well, you know, duh, I am pretty bloody biased in that regard. But let me tell you, this video might be a little bit different. You'll have to wait and see, because I am not confident at all of Oxford winning this game. And Des Buckingham's U's are currently outside the playoffs on goal difference. In terms of results in the last few weeks, it's been a bit Jekyll and Hyde for the Yellows. We absolutely hammered Peterborough 5-0, and at that point it basically felt that the playoffs were ours for the taking. But after that, we blew 2 chances to cement that place. Lincoln came to the Kassam and beat us 1-0, and we followed that up with a 1-1 draw at home to Stevenage. The fact that Stevenage didn't have a shot on target in that game made it especially tough to take. So Oxford travelled to Exeter, and I have no idea what to expect from this game. Performance-wise, for the past few weeks, Oxford actually have looked quite good. We look dangerous on the wings, and we look dangerous in transition. We're creating chances in games a lot better than we did when Buckingham first took over, and we're defending a lot better as a team, and generally look a lot more solid. So all things good from an Oxford United's point of view, right? Right? Well, maybe not so much, because Oxford are coming up against an Exeter side who are ending the season in amazing form. 6 wins and 3 draws in the last 9 games for Gary Caldwell's Grecians, and once again Oxford come up against a side who are excellent at defending leads. Exeter are a more open side than Lincoln and Stevenage, so that gives me hope that Oxford will be able to create chances, but I do worry that we'll see another game where Oxford are not clinical in front of goal. For me, the first goal is going to be crucial in this one. If Oxford get it, they could go on to get quite a big win. But if Exeter get it, I think you'll see an Oxford side that gets increasingly panicked, increasingly desperate, and I think they will struggle to go on to win the game from there. Also, unlike Lincoln and Blackpool, Oxford are garbage at holding on to leads. So that could be a genuine factor if Oxford are trying to hang on at the end of this one. So it always comes down to head over heart when I'm talking about Oxford United, and whilst my heart thinks that Oxford United can do it, my head tells me that they won't. I unfortunately can't see Oxford winning this one. I think it's going to be a high scoring draw. I think it's going to end 2-2. So there you have it, folks. That is my 2p's worth and my predictions. Put your money on Blackpool because I have them jumping above Lincoln and Oxford to claim that final playoff place. Barnsley sort of fell over the line to get there, and the U's and the Imps will have to dust themselves down and go again next season. But I do feel that both Oxford and Lincoln will be strong again next season. As for the playoffs, will the departure of Collins galvanise a clearly talented Blackpool squad that have severely lost their way? And from Blackpool's point of view, Neil Critchley has been there and done it before with the Tangerines. So will his experience and Blackpool's recent form continue, and will we see them go up to the Championship? Well, those videos are for another time, and I really can't stress enough that this was just a little bit of fun, and ultimately my 2p's worth isn't really worth much. But I'm sure you can all let me know how wrong I am down in the comments. Good luck to everybody this weekend, but I think I speak for everybody when I say, come on you yellows.